how much they love you and care for you, and you are just very confident person, and you don't play with stuff that is not kind.
I think I would not linger on self-reflection as long as I would normally encourage you to do.
We are relational people. That God designed us to have companionships, and that's what we're trying to do.
About ourselves?
Yeah, that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to rewrite the narrative.
Ever had someone vanish after 3 amazing dates or text you just enough to keep you hooked, but never follow through? Well, you're not crazy, and you're not alone. Teresa and I were married right out of college. We were basically clueless. We didn't know what we didn't know. But our journey to make our marriage better led us on a path to impact and affect marriages all over the world. And that's how we got here. Welcome to Marriage with Jim and Teresa. My name's Jim. This is my co-host, my wife of the last 40 years and the mother of our 4 children, Teresa, the therapist.
Hi, Jim.
What's up?
Oh, nothing much. You're looking mighty spiffy today.
Hey, so yeah.
I like your blue.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. And I noticed that you insisted on ironing the jacket. You know, I've never ironed anything. You know that, right? I don't know. I won't say I don't know how to iron, but I've never ironed.
Oh, really?
So
Okay.
So thank you for taking the extra
You're
step.
looking mighty handsome.
Yep, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you that story sometime, how I ended up never ironing. But anyway, so today, Teresa,
Yeah.
we're going to talk about ghosting, breadcrumbing, and zombieing. Now, this is an interesting topic or topics for me. You actually deal with this a lot in the counseling center. You mentioned, without giving me any details, that you actually have a real life person you're working with this on right now, and it comes up a lot. So introduce us. I mean, tell us about this ghosting, breadcrumbing, and zombieing.
Well, you know, this is kind of what we call, it's like a modern relationship. And this is a new kind of, these are new terms in dating. I guess this is the dating culture, and this is exactly what is actually going on. And we've named it to some extent. And so ghosting is when you suddenly just cut off. Breadcrumbing is sporadic, flirty, affection. You know, it's just enough to keep someone interested, but without real intentions to commit or to deepen the relationship. So that's kind of breadcrumbing.
Okay, now the third one, you know, and we're talking about how scary dating is in these days, zombieing. Okay.
So zombieing is when someone who previously ghosted you suddenly reappears.
Oh,
And
I see
usually
what
they
you
just act like nothing has happened.
Yeah.
And then, you know, and with no apology, no explanation. So you're looking at like, you know, what's going on here? But anyway, so yes, that's what we're talking about. And these are some of the things that make dating so scary today.
Hey, Teresa, let me let you in on a little secret.
Okay.
This ain't new.
It's not?
The way you've named it is new. Let me tell you a story.
Okay.
Let me go back to, the date's not important.
Exactly.
So, but I was in high school. And we rode the bus home. And so this young lady, for just no apparent reason, no particular reason, Forrest Gump voice, just started sitting next to me every day on the ride home. And we just started talking. And it went on for days and days and days. And finally, as we began to develop some of our relationship, I asked her out.
Oh, really?
I did. This is before you.
Okay.
Just settle down.
All right.
I asked her out. Okay. So I don't remember exactly what she said. It was kind of it wasn't a yes. It wasn't a no. You know how people don't want to give you straight answers. But here's what did happen. After, let's say, 2 weeks of sitting next to me every day on the ride home, it was like our thing. The very next day, I saw her walking down the aisle to get, on the bus. I slid over like I always did, and she walked right past me.
Oh.
Didn't look at me.
She did ghost
She
you.
didn't say anything. No, it wasn't ghosting. It was really, what's the opposite of ghosting? Because this was a real person right there in front of me. So
I'm sorry, that was ghost.
So, okay,
Still.
so The next day, she walked right past me. She did not, obviously, she didn't sit in the seat that she'd been sitting in. She didn't look at me. She didn't acknowledge me. And that's the last, or the day before that was the last conversation I've ever had with that person. Saw him every day at school.
No apology,
Well, I don't know that an apology was necessary,
or no explanation.
No
maybe.
explanation. But later, when we get to some other parts of what we want to talk about, I'm going to tell you how I responded at, let's say I was a high school junior, and how I think you, me, going forward, our audience can learn to respond when you've been ghosted, breadcrumbed, or zombied.
So let's talk a little bit more about ghosting. So ghosting reveals that a person, they're in a position of avoidance. That's what they're doing. They're being avoidant. I think about what kind of person would treat another person that way. That's a character flaw. If you are man enough or woman enough to seek out a relationship, do right by that person. If you don't want to be with them, let that be known. Do the right thing. So the ghoster may fear confrontation. They may fear being overwhelmed, or they may lack emotional maturity. That's why they can't seem to end this thing. But, I say be a man about it.
Or a woman.
Or a woman. Yeah. Gird up. Well,
Gird up your loins?
I don't know about that,
but
okay. Whatever that means. Well, pull yourself together and do the right thing. This is another human being you're talking about. They have feelings and they have desires, and they want to be treated in a nice way. Everybody does. That's a part of us. We want the good. But let me just say this.
Okay, keep going.
So when a person is ghosted, that could trigger all kinds of things in them. It could abandonment. Okay. It could trigger abandonment.
Okay.
It could trigger a lack of confidence in themselves. They don't think, what is it about me? That's the first thing they go to. What is it about me that they don't want me? And that hurts me so bad, because I'm thinking, check yourself. I think self-reflection is great. Check yourself, do what you can with yourself, and love yourself. And they missed out. However, but keep going.
Hey, so I feel like we should have, there's so much we should talk about. Let me go back.
Okay, go back.
So let's talk to somebody before, let's lay down some foundational principles, some guidelines, some guardrails. Here's how I would encourage you to start into relationships. Okay, so before your next relationship, I'm going to give you 3 steps. Number 1, bathe the relationship that you hope to have in prayer. Lord, send me, again, our whole point is we're dating for the purpose of getting married, not for recreational fun.
Exactly.
So, Lord, I'm looking for a spouse. Send me that person. Okay, so number 1, I'm praying, Lord, send me that person.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, number 2, I'm praying that I will be more like Christ in how I act and respond to things.
Okay, that would be.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
And then, of course, the third thing is, and this is important, I'm going to be careful to not have my mind made up about the prayer that God's going to answer. Okay, so not you, Teresa, but I've prayed this prayer before. Hey, Lord, here's what I'm thinking about doing. Matter of fact, here's what I'm going to do. I just want to bring you in on it so you're not on the same page. So the idea is that we have our mind so made up about how we want God to answer the prayer. This is the person. This is the one. This is the job. This is the opportunity, that we're not really seeking the voice of God. So here's why I lay that foundation. Based on those principles, those prerequisites that we put in place, now when we're ghosted, and I get it hurts. When that young lady stopped sitting beside me on the bus, my initial reaction, because it's emotional, right? We're all in our feelings. It's like, wow. Now, I got to be honest. I never thought, what did I do wrong?
You didn't?
No, I didn't, because I know I hadn't done anything wrong.
Okay.
But my initial reaction was, man, this is really hurtful. And then the second reaction was, she's not good enough for me.
Oh, and that is wonderful. I like your thoughts on that, but that's not the first thing I'm going to say. Most people will put it on them. What did I do wrong? That's the first thing that comes in their mind. What did I do wrong?
I get that, but that's because I don't think most people have set the foundation with the steps before they enter into relationships. So I'm bathing my relationship or potential or future relationships in prayer. So now everything that happens, I mean, hey, rejection is God's protection. I mean, no is God saying, don't hurt yourself. Go is God saying, help yourself.
Right.
So once you bathe it in the context of now, obviously, if you're not a believer, then I don't really have a set of instructions for you just yet.
But let me say this: you can. So that would come to a place of you have had some reflections and you have worked on yourself. So you are strong and I'm going to say whole in your own right. Versus, maybe a less confident person or whatever. You see what I'm saying?
I do see what you're saying.
Get yourself in the right mind frame if you're going to be in a relationship first, and know that certain things will happen. And it is a risk to be in a relationship, but it's also a great reward if it is the right person for you. And that's the way you've got to look at it. If he doesn't want to be with me, well, I don't want to be with him. Let me move on. But yes, sometimes that takes a little while and it does hurt. But it can be beautiful eventually.
Wow.
Let's talk about breadcrumbing a little bit. Breadcrumbing often reflects a need for validation without being vulnerable or vulnerability. The breadcrumber wants, it wants the attention, but they want to avoid the investment. And then I go back to what kind of character is this person? That's something to look at. If he's doing that, I'm going to say this: if a guy that is interested in you wants to be with you, he's going to touch base with you just about every day, or he's going to let you know, I'm working on a project and I'm not going to be able to call you for the next day, but I'd love to see you on Friday. Do you see how that is communicating? I am interested in you.
I do see that. So, I was thinking about some things. Let me kind of see, and maybe you were going to get to this later. Let me plug some things together. People, and by the way, this doesn't just happen in relationships. We've shared on other episodes that part of what I do is I counsel and coach with business owners, entrepreneurs, in terms of their business. And one of the things that we're seeing with their hiring practices is people just don't show up for work. And I just had that happen with someone this week. So it's not just in relationships, but circling back to relationships, here's kind of what my research has led me to say, and you tell me if you agree or disagree. The person who kind of exhibits these kind of behaviors, and I'm not trying to diagnose people here, but there could be a hint of narcissism. There could be a sense of Machiavellianism.
Okay,
I'm going to explain that.
Okay, I was going to say I don't know what happened.
And it could be a hint of psychopathy. I'm going to tell her what it means.
Okay.
And here's to me the big one, not even a clinical word. Hey, it's relationship cowardice.
Okay. There you
cowardice.
go. I like that one.
So here's
that
the
one's
narcissism piece.
Yeah.
It's more about me than you.
And you can see that in people in general today.
Yeah.
More so maybe than before, but I think it probably was there before. But
so
our society teaches us that.
Does it?
Yes, it does.
To put yourself first?
To focus on you. Yes, it does. Keep going.
I'll have to think about it.
It does.
Okay. Machiavellianism. That's the puppet master. It's somebody who loves to pull the strings and play the games, and they actually get kind of a perverse sense of joy around manipulating you around like a little puppet, and they're the puppet master. Does that make sense?
It does.
Okay.
Now you're stepping on part of narcissism.
Okay, is that part of?
Just so you're stepping on some of those tendencies.
And
yes,
then-
they
and
like
then-
to be in control.
And then the third one, psychopathy, is more of just a psychotic kind of tendencies.
That's a little frightening.
That's a little frightening, but here's where I'm going. And then the fourth one, relationship cowardice. Hey, it's just easier for me not just to stop calling, texting, showing up, as opposed to having a conversation. But here's the point I'm making. Do you want to marry, and that's what we're talking about, somebody who lives in those four areas? Do I want to marry somebody who's a relational coward?
Absolutely not.
No, I don't.
No.
Do you? Okay, so if you agree that people who are doing these things, ghosting, breadcrumbing, zombieing, if you agree with the four hypotheses that I've thrown out, and actually some studies have shown this to be true. So this is not just me making this up. There are actually studies that shows there's hints of narcissism, Machiavellianism, psychopathy, relational cowardice. So why don't you say a person who does that falls into one of these four categories? Thank God I saw this before it got too far.
Absolutely.
So why isn't that? Why isn't that approach? I know.
Well, like I say, you're dealing with emotions. They don't just turn off easily. So this person has put something together. They've been flirty. They have shown interest. So I'm just saying, they kind of want that. They like that attention. Maybe they do like that attention. They do like it. We all do. We like attention. We like when people say we are this or we are that, or I enjoyed this or that with you. That's just kind of who we are as people. So, but right, I don't want a guy like that. That's why I encourage guys and guys and girls and guys, people, to do the right thing.
But whether the people do the right thing or not, hey, I'm not depending on people to do the right thing. Why don't you do the right thing and have the right approach in spite of the emotions? I know it's painful. I know it's hurt. I know it hurts. I'm not dismissing that, but I need you to do the right thing.
Yeah.
So keep going, Teresa.
So,
and did we say what the right thing is? The right thing is when this behavior appears, be thankful that it appeared before it was too late.
Yes, look at it as a positive. This person isn't for me, apparently.
Which brings up a whole nother discussion. Why are people so dating thirsty? Are you that starved for companionship relationships?
I'm going to say some people are. They're lonely. They want a relationship. They have been probably hurt. And afraid of it.
Would that make them less likely to want a relationship?
That's what I'm saying, but they're trying to step out there and do it.
You know how desperately I wanted to be married.
I do.
I don't know that anybody wanted to be married more than I wanted to be married, but that didn't make me throw caution to the wind. So when I saw somebody, I didn't immediately go, I think I'm going to marry this person. I more went like...
Yeah, you said you put me, I was on some kind of little test.
Well, I never used the word test.
Yeah, What you used?
Test. What I said was, while we were in college, the 4 years that we were dating, I was carefully looking like maybe not with a magnifying glass, but with glasses to see if I thought we would be compatible. Not trying to change you, not trying to get you to be something you aren't. Is this a person I think we're compatible? I wasn't so excited, this is what I think most people do, that I closed my eyes and turned my head to behavior that was problematic.
Well, sometimes people do that, but I do encourage people to really observe. Just observe the behavior of the person that you're with. That is so important. They will show you exactly. Wait. They will show you exactly who they are if you give them a little time.
Do people have that ability in your experience? Can I trust you to do what's best for you?
I would hope so.
I don't think I can. I don't think I can. I don't think we can trust ourselves. I mean, the heart is deceitful. The Bible is clear on that.
Well, yeah.
So the heart is deceitful. So that's why you've got to be really intentional and really prayerful hey, when you exhibit this kind of behavior, and whether it's like what we're talking about or something different or something worse, that's all the signals that you need. So again, you go back to the counseling perspective, because people are coming to you heartbroken. I can't believe she just stopped communicating. I thought we were getting along so well. I can't believe he disappeared. I do want you to speak to those people and give them some real coping skills, right? Some real ways to deal with that. But I want, while you're working your way through it, I want you thinking about the foundational pillars. If you've laid the foundation, right? Lord, send me the person you have for me. And when a person that you thought was for you leaves or disappears, don't start making excuses. Think about that as God's grace. You know what this boils down to, I think, Teresa?
Tell me.
You can't prevent people from doing what they're going to do. So you've got to make sure you are, what words do we want to use? Emotionally stable. Your EQ is being nurtured, so you are emotionally
It's going back to being a whole person. That's
Okay,
kind of
thank
the terminology. I guess being a whole person, and that entire, I
we're all
mean, that's a
broken
lot.
people, though.
We're broken,
Are we
right?
whole people?
Well, we are all broken, but the thing is we should be aware of what actually is some of our own issues. So self-reflection, self-awareness, and all of that is important. However, having that understanding at the beginning, I don't think you will go through as much of this as a negative if you are, strong in some of those areas,
Okay.
if that makes sense.
So I feel like we have, in pretty good detail, explained ghosting. We're going to keep talking about it. Explain breadcrumbing. Did you kind of offer your explanation and kind of therapeutic insights from zombieing?
Yeah, usually I try to work on helping them be aware of the emotional manipulation, the inconsistency, and seeing that those things are not okay. When you see those things, those are red flags. You don't just look over them. I want you to be able to name those things. I see consistency, I see clarity, and I'm committed. I want you to be able to say those things and say, this is where we're going. And then you might want to look back and say, why did you accept those breadcrumbs? What were you thinking about? So we look in it a little bit deeper. Why did you accept the crumbs instead of seeking a full-hearted connection? Because that's what's needed
Hey, let me ask you
in
something.
a relationship.
You diagnose people, right? When you diagnose conditions and
I do diagnose, but I don't just try to name all the stuff in the DSM-5. I
I don't know what that means. But
okay,
explain it.
that is my manual
Okay.
for all the different diagnoses.
Here's why I asked the question. I want you to diagnose me live on camera right now. Here's why I asked the question. So, what is it about me? Why is my response? Let's go back to the story I told earlier. Young lady on the high school bus stopped sitting beside me. Never, so that's whatever, decades ago. Never have heard from her since. But let's say we're talking about breadcrumbing and zombie. Let's say that she reappeared a week later on the seat. You know what I would do? You know what I would have done?
What would you have done?
I would have kicked her off the seat.
Okay.
No, don't skip over that. You're like,
Well,
you said you're going to diagnose me live on camera. So she couldn't have sit beside me if the bus was on fire.
okay.
You understand what I'm saying?
I don't have a diagnosis for that.
But there's probably something wrong, isn't there?
No, not necessarily.
Don't be afraid.
It could be you're just who you are, a person that don't play.
So why? Why do you tell me in that space? Yeah, but most people don't like that. Why am I the anomaly?
I don't. And you've been told this many times,
Have I?
sweetheart. Yes, that you are not. You don't process like the majority of people. I think your mother, your father gave you a great foundation of.
Should we stop?
They gave you
Looks like
confidence.
like really deep in the.
Well, I'm just telling you. I think they They gave you a great deal of confidence. They showed you, they put you in a place where they really valued you and showed you how much they love you and care for you, and you are just very confident person. And you don't play with stuff that is not kind and not right.
Okay.
You really pounce on that. He's like, I don't have time for that. Don't treat people bad.
So are you saying, and I think I am quick on the relationship or circle of trust trigger.
Mm-hmm.
I am quickly to pull you out of that circle. Not you. You're forever in the circle.
Thank you, darling.
Maybe the kids. I'm not sure about some of them. But maybe. But
they're in the circle.
Are they?
Yeah. We can't. We got to keep the circle.
Okay. Anyway, that's beside the point. So
we're all over the place today. Keep going.
Are we? To me, this is what we're talking about. So how would you want to encourage other people to be more emotionally stable? What do you want to call it?
That's what I'm saying. We've already said that, and I repeat that. Again, being strong within knowing who you are as a person and confident in yourself. That's the best thing. That's the best thing I can say. We all have our flaws. That's what I want everybody to know. We all have our flaws. Every single one of us. No one in this earth don't have flaws. I don't care how beautiful you are, how much money you have. I'm just saying that is, you don't need to come back to yourself and feel so bad about yourself. We're all over the place. But anyway, let's go to zombie.
All over the place.
Okay,
we're having a conversation.
Okay. So look,
people are actually listening and getting some of it. Good, but I'd love to have this conversation with just us sitting here.
Okay, zombieing is. Let's just talk about that.
Okay,
zombieing is. It's someone who previously ghosted you and then suddenly reappears, usually with no explanation and no apology, often acting like nothing really has happened. So they've just right back like nothing has happened and they're back in your life.
Okay, Teresa. Can I tell you how my mind works?
Tell me how your mind works.
Which is frightening, isn't it? I can tell you get nervous already. Okay, so Let's just think this through. If you ghosted me, how did you even get to be a ghost? That's somebody, I don't believe in ghosts, but I don't believe that they're actually ghosts around us, but using the terminology.
No, demons, but not ghosts.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So, but to continue with the narrative, that's somebody who died. That's how you get to become a ghost, right? In scientific,
forget
about science. You saw Casper. Everybody. You saw Casper the Friendly Ghost. Everybody knows this. So that's how you got to be a ghost. Is that you died? Okay. So here's the point. Now we're talking about zombieing. You can't reappear into my life. You know why?
Because you're gone?
Because you're dead.
Okay.
Now, let's say you ain't really dead. You're dead to me.
Okay.
Do you understand what I'm telling you? Uh-huh. That whole thing, you can't reappear because even if you weren't dead, really, but you were almost dead, I killed you.
But what if,
metaphorically speaking?
But what if it was just an emotional moment? You're feeling weak. You really did like this guy or girl, and they just reappeared. And don't you want to make another connection?
I can't make a connection with a dead person. This is the part I'm telling you.
I think you're right on that aspect.
But why? But you don't listen.
But I'm just saying that's not what I see a lot.
Yeah, I was gonna say let's move beyond me to the audience.
Right.
So why?
And that's what I just said. If you're in a vulnerable place, you're already hurting, and then this person reappears, you're thinking, okay, he or she is coming back to me. They maybe thought about it, something, and they're back. So now you're thinking, should I give them a try or should I not? For me, I would probably say your chance is up.
I don't know if you say that or not. You strike me as more of a second, third chancer.
No, I'm not.
Okay, keep going.
Anyway, so really zombieing shows a disregard for emotional impact. It's just a disregard. It's just often it indicates that self-centered person you talked about.
The narcissist.
And that emotionally immature behavior. without an explanation. That'd be different if you come back and you tell me something has happened and this is what you thought and whatever. That's common courtesy. I don't know. Do people have common courtesy sometimes? I don't know. They have common courtesy today.
But I'm saying there's nothing you could come back and tell me after you disappeared to make it right that you've now reappeared. But you're saying most people aren't that black and white.
Exactly. That's why I say, look at the person. Depending on
you can't coach them to be that black and white?
They will eventually get to a place of what they do is until you become that, you set boundaries of things you will not or will do. And that's what's going to help you manage this, going through this. That's what that's all about. But why does it hurt so much?
That's a great question, Teresa. What's your answer?
Well, like I say, we deal with our, I guess, everyday life, we deal with our trauma of our past. Everybody has it. You can't tell me you could have the perfect little upbringing, but we all have trauma.
You couldn't have a perfect little
Well, I'm just telling you, some people say that in that. But it triggers rejection, the rejection trauma, and self-doubt. That's the first thing. And that's what I see, the self-doubt. They start to look at that. So the inner narrative becomes, what did I do wrong? Was I not good enough? I hear that a lot, Am I not good enough? But you know what? Let me say, if you look at social media, the comparison thing is out there.
Comparison is a thief of joy. Everybody knows that. Everybody knows it.
But I'm just saying, so that does bring about self-doubt. Will I ever look that way? Probably not. There's certain things that's not going to happen to you. The main thing is that it triggers rejection, the trauma that you maybe had in just say rejection trauma and self-doubt.
You know what this reminds me of? It's interesting. When I talk with people, when I coach people, I have a little saying.
Okay.
But I don't think, I'm not sure it applies here.
Let me hear.
But outside of here, what I would say to people is, look in the mirror before you look out the window.
Okay, but tell me what that means.
Okay. So before I look outside through my window to see what's going on and what's wrong with the world or my situation or my life, look in the mirror and look at me first. So
by doing that, you are dealing with possible doubts that you might have had or have.
But here's why I brought this up. Here's what I'm saying. I'm not sure if I'm in the counseling center with you, I would tell somebody that same thing here. Now, self-reflection is.
But I like that. Well, but I'm just saying, because if the self-reflection is done on the front part, then you have the strength to deal with.
But here's why I bring it up, because you say when you're dealing with people with this, oftentimes the first reaction is, what did I do wrong? Now, I normally encourage people to start with that. But I'm almost thinking about coming up with a different rule outside of relationships. Well, let me say this. If you've laid the foundations that we talked about, Father God, send me a mate. If you're praying and you are working on yourself, self-reflection is always good. But when it comes to ghosting, zombieing, breadcrumbing, I think I would not linger on self-reflection as long as I would normally encourage you to do. It's always good to constantly be self-reflective, right? But in this point, I would look at it more like, as we've said, thank God for your protection in the form of this rejection.
Okay, I can see that.
Okay, keep going.
All right, so the reason that all of this hurts so badly, another reason would be feels personal, even when it isn't, and just kind of what you said. The behaviors say more about the other person's emotional maturity than about the one being ghosted or breadcrumbed. You just
said that.
I know it. That's what I'm saying. So a sudden shift in inconsistency feels like a personal attack, So it's often about the ghoster's fear, the avoidance, their inability to communicate. It's all about that, really. Their inability to communicate. That's really what it's about.
Hey, let me ask you a question.
Mm-hmm.
Do you find people to be, now, hey, we're all relationship creatures, right? We all need relationships. But let's talk about romantic, not friends, not family. Let's talk about dating, marriage. Do you feel people are, and we all are to a certain point, but overly relationally needy?
Yes.
Okay. Why do you think that's the case?
We are relational people. That's how we're designed. Okay. I'm just saying. We are designed to be in a relationship, not necessarily whether it's a marital thing or whatever, but we are relational people. That God designed us to have companionships or whatever. So that's why people want to be in, and sometimes people, that's just their desire. They want to be married. They see people on the television, on the social media, they seem all lovey-dovey and all the big, beautiful married weddings and stuff. So they want a companion. They want somebody
Teresa,
to be with.
So Teresa, the therapist, how do you counsel people to be, while we're relational creatures, and we all have, okay, follow me. Mm-hmm. We all have a relational need, but how do you counsel me not to be relationally needy? You see the difference?
Mm-hmm. I have to build you up first to let you know that.
Is that what you do?
I do. I build you up to help you see yourself, to see your worth, that you are valued, that I'm hearing you. And that's pretty much it. I'm building their self-confidence. That's what I'm doing. And, we talk about that all the time, building self-confidence, building self-esteem and all of that. But that's what we do is I get to that point is I start to help rebuild that.
So you mentioned it feels personal, even if it isn't personal, because we already talked about it's more about the other person than it's about you. So it's the opposite of being personal, actually. Right. But then you also say it leaves no closure.
Right. It doesn't. It just leaves somebody hanging, and that is just. I just think that's the most. That's just wrong. That's the best I can say it.
Hey, Teresa.
That's just wrong.
Teresa, can I offer you a bit of advice?
Also, I know this is the world is not the, I don't know, what's the word? I can't even think of the word. I know the world doesn't help us in some aspects sometimes, but yeah, just leaving without any closure, not any explanation is just very hurting for a person,
I'm so glad you brought that up. I think I can help with that.
Okay, how would you help?
So, if this has happened to you and it feels like you've been left with no closure, here's my professional advice to you. Close it. So I don't need you to provide closure. In the absence of you providing closure, I'm going to close it myself. So I'm going to create my own answer to the unanswered question. Why haven't I heard from Teresa in 3 weeks? Oh, I know what happened.
What?
She's moved on.
Okay. Or I'm not important enough to that person. And if that's the case, well, I don't want to be with you. Oh my gosh. That's it.
Either one of the answers. Oh, okay. In light of an answer from you, I'm going to fill in my blank with the answer. Now, hey, I wouldn't do this normally. In our marriage, I don't do that. Right? If I'm working with, an entrepreneur, this is not what I encourage them to do. But in the context of this conversation, what we're talking about, in the absence of a closure or a closing final word, fill in the word yourself and close so you walked out and left the door open. Walk over there, close the door yourself. Voila, we got closure. I know that's easier said than done. Tell me what's wrong with that.
We walk to that place, though. We don't just automatically get there, but we will walk to that place. We will eventually get to a place of closure.
Can we be more on a jog? Because I see you're walking to the place, but can we be more?
Well, it depends on how emotionally intelligent or emotionally strong that person is. Then we can jog on, but some people are not there.
So now, you know what I'm understanding now, which is why you're a therapist and I'm not. So what you're saying is My approach is, okay, I've heard everything you said. This is only going to take 20 more minutes. Go over there and close the door. Next, bring in the next customer. Okay. but what you're saying is you have to walk that person through maybe in their own time frame.
Mm-hmm. They will release it.
How much patience how are you able to do that? I don't think I'm cut out to do that.
Okay, well, I guess maybe not.
That's why I'm sitting over. That's why I'm sitting over here. You're sitting over there.
No, it's just that's not who you are.
Okay, so
And that's nothing wrong with that.
But no, I understand better now what you're saying. While I'm saying, let's
get it done.
You're saying you understand where you're trying to take them,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm more like grabbing you by the back of your neck and pulling you.
Mm-hmm.
You're trying to get them to walk.
Exactly.
Oh, I see what you're doing.
Okay, when they walk themselves, and then they're stronger for it. They're ready for the next
that makes
task.
Perfect sense to me, Teresa. I'm better. This is like a therapy session for me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, keep going.
So ghosting, breadcrumbing, zombieing hurts. Not because...
I'm not denying that. I agree with that.
It does hurt. Not because they tell us the truth about our worth, but because they leave us with unanswered questions, unresolved emotions, and the weight of a story we make up in the silence.
Wow, this has been...
It's amazing, the silence, what we make up in our mind.
Okay. So, Teresa, what can a person do? So I think here's what we can say. This is gonna happen.
It does.
Matter of fact,
and it happens because we are broken human beings. So keep going.
I was reading a study. I wish I could cite the study, but I think they had followed like 800 couples. And again, here's what I remember. 80% of the 800 couples had experienced some form of ghosting, breadcrumbing, or zombie. Mm-hmm. That sounds crazy to me, but the point we're making is this is a fact. This is gonna happen. Mm-hmm. So what are you gonna do about it, Teresa?
Right. So the first thing is that we set boundaries.
I'm a big fan of boundaries.
So let's just say the digital dating thing here, what do we call it? The online app, however you're dating, we set boundaries. And so in this culture of instant access,
Okay.
low accountability,
Okay, I got you.
Setting clear boundaries is the emotional safeguard. There it is. Setting boundaries is the emotional safeguard.
Okay, so since most relationships today, I think this is true,
Mm-hmm.
most start in a digital space.
Right.
Matter of fact, do you agree with that?
I do.
You think most? Okay.
Even though I was talking to my daughter the other day, and she said people are pulling away from the apps. So that means I think networking
Talking
would
about
be
Ellie?
Yeah, Ellie.
Youngest daughter?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
So I people are pulling away, but also so I guess networking maybe is going to be the next thing.
Okay.
But anyway,
let's focus on some boundaries for digital dating. So
Mm-hmm.
you've met somebody online. What are you going to tell me? What should I know to do and not to do?
all right. So if you want to say, I'm just giving you an example. Let's just
Give me
say
an example.
I don't stay in a situationship past 4 to 6 weeks without some type of clarity.
What's that mean?
They haven't talked about where the relationship is going.
Hey, now you used a word that first time I've actually heard this word, situationships.
Really?
Did you make that word up?
No, I didn't
I'm
make
a
it
big
up.
fan of making up words now.
No, I didn't make that one up.
Okay. Wow. I've never heard that word before.
So you're setting this boundary.
Okay.
This is one thing you don't want to do. So communicate. Let's just talk. I'll say communicate some kind of standards. Let's say if someone disappears once, I don't chase them. I'm just saying.
You have to explain that?
Well, I'm just giving you some examples.
Okay. We're setting boundaries for starting a successful relationship online.
Right.
Hey, are you going to talk about this? One of the things that I've heard for years is when you start online, are you going to cover this? Get offline as quickly as possible. Are you going to talk about that?
What are you talking about?
No,
The boundary?
So Yeah.
Okay, so yes, so you can block the person.
No, what I'm saying is you and I met online, but I'm not, and maybe this is what you meant by the word that I never heard of, situationships. So you and I met online, but we're not going to keep meeting online for the next month, 3 months. At some point, we're going to move from online to person. We're going to move from virtual to real.
Right.
Okay, is that what you meant?
Yes.
Okay. So, all right. So you're saying we meet online. One of the rules for you to have as a rule is I'm not going to continue this kind of interaction past, and everybody come up with their own 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks, whatever that is.
Well, they kind of recommend 4 to 6 weeks, but
well, when you say they, you mean you?
People, I'll say some of
what do you recommend? I don't know they.
Well, no,
I'm trusting you.
I'm looking at research and articles and things about.
What's your recommendation?
I would say no more than 4 weeks.
Okay. So you meet somebody online. Within 4 weeks, y'all have, at the longest, you need to have met in person. All right, got you. If someone disappears once,
only once.
So we got the 1 strike rule. I know you've heard 3 strikes. We got the 1 strike.
If
somebody disappears once, now to me, I don't know why we got to explain that, but
you and the word was disappear.
What did I say?
That was, you did say
okay,
it. I just reiterated it.
All right. So then you talk about having control. What do you mean?
Yeah, I said mute, block, or unfollow the person who caused this emotional distress in your life. Block them.
Okay. So we're talking about boundaries, and you talk about how the fact that I love boundaries. I agree with this 100%. Boundaries create. How do you say it? Create a safe space. What do you say? Is that what you say? Boundaries create. Explain.
It is protecting you from the emotional pain and distress.
Well, but you even go a little bit deeper. You say something about, clinically speaking, boundaries tell your nervous system and your...
Oh, yeah.
Tell that story.
So it tells your nervous system, I'm safe. I decided to get access to me or take care of me. So they replace reactive behavior like waiting, overthinking, obsessing with responsive, intentional choices.
Got you.
So it's almost like you're telling yourself something, or by setting boundaries, you're protecting that part of you. I love parts. There's all kind of parts of us. And yes, you're protecting that part.
So you know what you're saying, I haven't put in those terms, but you say about me, I have a lot of rules.
You do.
You just said it again. but what I'm going to start saying is, based on your counsel, is I have boundaries. Now, you tell me, is that the same thing? Or you wouldn't define my rules as boundaries? For instance, if I was dating online, one of my rules would be, I never thought about a boundary, would be, if you disappear, I don't chase you. Hey, Jim, but what had happened was...
I guess you could say rules or boundaries.
Yeah, so I think rules are boundaries. So while you've been critical of the number of rules I have, I just think I've had great, safe boundaries.
Okay. That's okay. That's good.
So I say on this podcast, I've learned how to better interact with you.
Okay.
So what else you got?
So do the emotional detox, the narrative rewriting your mind, for instance. So after ghosting, breadcrumbing, your brain starts trying to make sense of the silence. So it often fills the gap of self-blame, like, I wasn't good enough. We
already covered that.
Right.
I told you what to do.
Right. So I'm just saying, you're rewriting this narrative now.
Okay.
That's what.
So you're helping them get to the place I already took them.
Yeah.
Because I heard it long. Okay. Go ahead.
If I were more desirable, sometimes they'd be thinking that, they wouldn't have stayed. They would have stayed. So you're rewriting that narrative in your mind. You're detoxing from all of that negative stuff. So some people, this particular person that I was working with, they journal those and they look at them, and I tell them to journal that feeling, write it out. And then I want you to look at it tomorrow. And a lot of times they look at it and they think, what was I thinking? I must be out of my mind.
Okay.
So the journaling does help. It's writing it out, naming that emotion, expressing yourself, all of that. And then I tell them to rewrite it and show compassion to themselves.
Okay, let me restate what I heard you say.
Okay.
What you counsel a person to do is you've been ghosted, you've been zombied, you've been breadcrumbed, you're in those kind of relationships. And you're saying you encourage a person to journal their feelings.
Mm-hmm.
Here's what I'm feeling. And what I hear you saying is sometimes I can't believe I wasn't good enough. I can't believe I wasn't enough. I can't believe how did I mess this up?
Mm-hmm.
And then you're saying upon reflection, when they later go back and read that, even they go, what was I thinking to have written this?
Right. Well, no, yeah.
That's amazing to me.
Well, I'm just saying sometimes we get in that emotional stuck place and we say negative things, and that's what we're trying to do.
About ourselves?
Yeah, that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to rewrite the narrative.
Hey, this has been an interesting episode for me.
And this is definitely an interesting episode for me as well. No,
But you deal with this every
I was going
day.
to say not really.
I mean, I don't.
talking to you, and the way you're responding, sometimes I'm thinking, okay.
No. One of the reasons that I don't like for us to spend a lot of time prepping for episodes, right, or shows, is I like to respond. I know it's important that you prep because you're bringing actual clinical help to people, whereas I'm just a guy sitting here talking. You're like the play-by-play analysis,
Okay.
or analyst.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what that means? The
No.
play-by-play. Okay, so you're the person describing the technical, play-by-play. I'm more of the color commentator.
Okay.
So I add in stories, I add in fun. Now, granted, you and I are both certified Smalley marriage intensive coaches, but you are the clinician, and hopefully our audience is familiar with that in your role right now. And I love these roles.
Mm-hmm.
So, but back to my point. One of the reasons I don't like to interact a lot with you before we sit in front of the camera to talk is because it's fascinating. Because I like not knowing where we're going.
Mm.
Now, you like differences in you and I. You like having a real clear destination where we're going.
Absolutely.
I like starting here and then going to the right and then going to the left and go. I love that. But you people say,
You people.
yeah, y'all say that that's confusing to the audience. I'd love to hear from the audience. Is it confusing or not? Hey, Jim, why are you talking right now? We're trying to hear about ghosting, something, and breadcrumbing. You're talking about something else. Okay, I get your point. Keep going.
So another way to deal with,
What you can do about it?
yeah.
Okay. Another.
I lost my thought there.
So
What you can do about it is learn to detach from potential. One of the hardest emotional traps is falling in love with the idea of what could be rather than what actually was
hold on.
or is.
Think about that. Learn to attach from potential. So
Right.
okay. So
I hear this a lot.
Really?
I do.
Keep going.
What if? What if this or what if that? Or, this could be if I do this, this could be the guy, or this could be a lot
If I
of
do
things.
what, for example?
But you've got too many red flags to be saying that.
Well, what do you mean? If I do what?
So if you're looking at, okay, he does this and I really like it,
Okay.
but yet he does other things that you don't like that are also big red flags. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that does make sense, but I don't understand how that would make me look at potential. So
I
What are
said
you saying?
detach from detention.
detach from potential. So he does this, which is a red flag, or are red flags, but he does this or she does this, which I really like.
So
what do
you kind of ignore the red flags because there's a good side. And everybody shows you their good side a lot
the
of the
stuff
time.
you're saying is not making sense to me.
Okay, well, listen.
That
Go
people
ahead.
actually do that.
Well, I'm sorry. That's just the truth. That's how the mind works
Okay,
sometimes.
it does it.
It does.
So you're saying you in a regular basis, I see red flags.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say I see 3 horrible things, but I see 7 green flags, which that outweighs is that what you're saying?
Kinda.
That doesn't make any sense.
I know it doesn't make sense to you, sweetheart.
No, I'm not saying it doesn't make any sense to me. I'm saying it doesn't make any sense.
No, I'm telling you, it does make sense.
Does it?
It does.
Make sense of it.
I just told you. And that's what I'm saying. We ignore the red flags because we see, I don't have a why. We ignore them, but then we see the good side. So you have to really detach yourself from thinking like that. You invest in emotional after after a few strong connections. Let's just say we had a good time that time, but boy, there was another time it was horrible. For instance, we had a big fight. Huge fight.
It's not uncommon though, right? You're not saying that in and of itself is a problem.
So, there is a way to fight.
There's a way to fight.
And there's a way to fight fair, but I'm talking about a fight that's not fair, that is, you've called you every name.
Oh, okay. So you're not saying we just had a disagreement.
No, it's not.
Like everybody does.
Everybody
there
does.
was a big, okay. That's, okay, I
right.
understand.
So that was a major red flag that this is probably going to continue to happen if you don't do something. So, but then you made a connection the night after the fight, and you did this and you did that, but he has called you, she has called you, everything out of the...
Except your real name that your parents gave you?
Yeah, they've called you all kinds of things. Not nice.
Okay, now I'm better understanding. So I mean, the reason this is fascinating to me, because I guess I didn't realize that there was a huge propensity to ignore those kind of things. I mean, there are some things that, do you think, let's talk about, you talked about boundaries. Mm-hmm. There are some things that a person could say or do to me that there's no coming back from. Now, first question, would you agree everybody has that line or not?
I agree yes, that everybody will have that line. However,
some people's line is different. My line's here, mm-hmm. and somebody else's line may be here.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
Yeah.
Huh.
That's human nature.
Wow. Okay. Detach from the potential. Okay.
Right.
The emotional cost of not detaching from potential. You say you end up staying in situations that are, I can't remember what else.
Unfulfilling, one-sided, constant hoping they will become who you imagine them to be.
Hey, hope is crucial. I'm all about hope, but hope ain't a strategy. Does that make sense? Hey, Jim, how's this relationship going with Teresa? It's not going that well right now, but I hope it's going to get better. That's not a strategy.
No, it's not. But that's exactly what I said. The emotional cost, you end up staying in situations that are unfulfilling. They're one-sided. You're working yourself to death to make this what you think it should be or want it to be, or you imagined and dreamed it would be.
You know, I'd say, Teresa, actually, I heard you say it.
Okay.
Look at patterns, not promises.
That's right.
When people show you who they are, believe them.
Believe them.
Believe them. But I hear you saying most people don't do that.
They don't do it quick enough.
Hey, I don't know if this...
But that's what I teach them. I teach them how to see the patterns.
This episode is actually more discouraging to me than encouraging. I hope it'll be encouraging to others, but as I understand the reality of what you deal with every day, and I don't mean if you're in this situation, that means that's something wrong with you. I just didn't realize, I guess I'm going to put it like this. I understand what God has said about me, mm-hmm. and I believe him. Mm-hmm. I'm fearfully and wonderfully made. Mm-hmm. I am valuable enough that Jesus literally left heaven and came to earth and died for me. Forget about, all of us, mm-hmm. the world. While that's true, let's personalize it. Jesus died for me. So when I understand the value that I hold in the eyes of my Creator, it's hard for me to understand and really empathize, sympathize with, but I'm hanging on to the potential. They mistreated me. And I know there are people who stay in emotionally and physically abusive situations, and I'm sure that's the heart of it, at the root mm-hmm. of it. Mm-hmm. But this is fascinating to me.
Yeah, it is. It is. It can be heartbreaking, but it is it is what happens. And that's why we're talking about it.
Okay, so let's bring this to a close. Ghosting, breadcrumbing, zombieing. Thank you. Not new. I mean, although the terms are new, mm-hmm. the actions are not new. I told a story back from my high school days. So what do we want you to do as a result of this? What we like our listeners to do? One, I'd love you to share your own stories.
Mm-hmm.
In the comments, connect with us on social. I'd love to hear your stories about your experiences. I do find this totally fascinating. Again, I'm not dating. Well, I'm dating you.
Yeah, you're
But
dating.
we're not dating outside of each other. I understand these are different times, but kind of the root causes and the basic solutions are not new. They're as old as love itself
Yes.
in terms of what we do. So, we talked about earlier, I gave you 3 things to do in terms of how to lay a foundation. And I talked about one is be praying. This is what we did. On the show, we speak to our younger selves. That's why we started the show, because we were clueless. And so these shows are all about speaking to us when we met 44 years ago, the things we wish people were telling us at the time. Now, fortunately, we'd already been told this, but I'm going to tell it to our listeners in case they haven't been told.
Okay.
To make all this work, here's step 1. Develop a personal relationship with Jesus Christ. That's the first thing we would invite you to do, because that relationship will solidify and grow all other relationships.
Right.
It's impossible for us to do this because one of us is harder to live with than the other. Do you think that's true? Which one of us is?
Both of us, really.
Okay, don't say anything.
It's both of us, honey.
Okay. And,
but without that relationship with our Savior, our Creator, without that, you can never be whole per se. But with that, you can walk through the wholeness.
Okay. So what
You're stronger.
So what we'd like you to do is share your own ghosting, breadcrumbing, zombieing stories. And then we'd like to share if there's a win. How did you get out of that situation? We'd like for you to tag the show for repost. We'd like for you to subscribe to the podcast. We'd like for you to share the podcast, invite others to participate, to listen. Hopefully we've said something that is helpful. That's our desire.
That is our desire.
We are praying for you.
Yes.
As part of our everyday devotional time, we are praying for you, your relationships, all your dreams. We are in your corner. Thank you so much for listening, joining us. We'll see you next week.